Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this meeting of the Brookline Board of Selectmen for tonight, February 24th, 2015. We've had executive session and completed that executive session. We're now up to agenda item number 2 on our calendar, and that is announcements and updates. I have a few to read, prepared by Selectman DeWitt, who unfortunately is ill tonight. And by the way, Selectman Franco is geographically unavailable for us tonight, too. First, I want to announce that we mourn the loss of George Cha, longtime building commissioner for the town. He passed away very unexpectedly on Saturday. And there will be a viewing at 10 a.m. and a service at 11 a.m. on Saturday, February 28th at 63 Chestnut Hill Ave in Brighton. And we express our condolences to George's family and friends. The Brookline Rotary Club conducted its Sweet and Savory Chocolate and Food Festival on Saturday. I was there, Selectman Wyszynski was there, and it was a successful event. I think they raised something close to about $5,000, and despite the weather concerns. So thank you to everybody who participated in that. Thursday, February 26th at 6 p.m. at the Teen Center, the Brookline Community Foundation will present Northeastern University Professor Barry Bluestone speaking on income inequality in our community, our community, as reported in the Community Foundation's publication, Understanding Brookline. Unfortunately, the word is that event has been sold out.
Right, yeah.
So, but at any rate, we commend the Community Foundation for their continuing efforts to keep us apprised and understanding of these types of challenges in our town. Saturday, February 28th from 12:30 to 3 p.m. the Pan-Asian Lunar Festival will be held at Brookline High School in the atrium and the Martin Luther King Room. There will be food, music, interactive games, lion dancing, and much more, maybe some firecrackers at some point, too. And happy...
I went to that one last year. It was fun.
Yeah. Happy New Year to our Chinese community. Finally, a reminder that candidates for town meeting and other elected office can still take out nomination papers, which are available at the town clerk's office. They have to be returned by March 17th. Anything further, Selectman Wyszynski or Selectman Daley?
Oh, I just want to say I'm sorry. I was away on vacation last week. As traditionally, we don't meet on school vacation week, so I thought I was safe booking that. But due to snow, various snow events, we did meet. And I am very sorry to have missed Mr. Cronin's send-off, and I hope you all gave him a good farewell. And I want to, I'm sure Melissa is in the other room listening to us. I want to welcome her to the spot as Deputy Town Administrator.
Great. And thank you, Selectman Daley. And but we did give Sean a very warm send-off last Wednesday, and sorry you missed it. Moving on to our miscellaneous calendar, the first item is item 4A. It's the question of approving the minutes of our February 17th meeting. I had no edits to that. I thought it was perfect set of minutes if ever I've seen one. So I move that we approve those minutes as provided, as submitted. All in favor, say aye. Selectman Daley?
Abstain.
Selectman Wyszynski?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. So, yeah, that's a quorum still. That's fine. We move on to item B on the miscellaneous calendar. That's the question of awarding and executing a contract in the amount of $75,000 with Ray Dunet's Landscape Architecture for landscape and architectural and civil engineering services in connection with improvements at the Pierce Playground.
Good
Ms.
evening.
Galantine.
Erin Galantine, Director of Parks and Open Space. So this contract is for landscape architecture and civil engineering services. We have a design review committee that has been established for the renovation of Pierce Playground. It is a playground that is in dire need of renovation, serves the school, serves the neighborhood, serves the recreation department, our athletic youth sports. And we have a terrific committee, and put out a request for proposals, received 8 very strong proposals, shortlisted to 4, had interviews with those teams, and felt that Ray was the best and most qualified fit for this particular job. We look forward to working with him on this project.
Great. Selectman Daley?
Yeah, I just have a question, because I know that school is very bursting at the seams with kids these days, and when exactly would this work take place?
Well, that is somewhat yet to be determined through our process and in working with the principal, but our thought is that we will go through design development, starting now through the summer, complete the package in the fall, put it out to bid, and what we'd like to see is a phased construction approach.
That's what I was going to suggest.
We would look to demolish the playground over the spring and have that set off, and the kids could use the basketball court in the field, have all of it closed over the summer, and then have the field closed through the fall, but have the playground open. So we're hoping that we can still provide access. While it would be reduced, I think it would be certainly a relief to the school and the neighborhood as well.
That's what I was going to suggest. I think that there's a lot of challenges being in an overcrowded school, and to have no play space would be one challenge too many for some of those parents over there and the kids as well.
Good point.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, noting that this is $15,000 under the budgeted amount, I'm happy to move the question and move that we award and execute a contract in the amount of $75,000 with Ray Dunet's Landscape Architecture, Inc. for landscape architectural and civil engineering services in connection with improvements at the Pierce Playground. All in favor, say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Waschinsky?
Aye.
Selectman Selectman Franco's not here. And the chair votes aye. Thank you. My cadence is all off. Aaron, you're still here for the next one, I
Yes, I
assume?
am.
So it's miscellaneous item C. This is the question of awarding and executing a contract in the amount of $129,534 with Shemin Nurseries for the purchase and delivery of trees and shrubs in connection with the Fisher Hill Reservoir Park construction project. What greater sign of spring could there possibly be?
I know. It's terrific to be placing this order. So as part of our approach with Fisher Hill Reservoir and trying to be most efficient and cost-conscious with the construction of this park, we decided that it made sense to buy wholesale from the nurseries because we were buying such a large volume of trees and shrubs. And so what we have here is just that. It is a significant order of trees and shrubs. They'll be delivered directly to the site, and the contractor is responsible for installation. By doing this, we are saving from the markup that the contractor would have provided just for the purchase alone, and we are able to, I think, better control the quality of the material that we get.
Good. When do you think those trees might be planted?
Well, kind of depends a little bit on this, and when the snow melts, but we would hope that most of it, that we'll be able to get
It might
started
be
in the
July.
spring. Right.
So we're
The
talking-
delivery is scheduled for this spring, and that's what we put in the contract.
This spring, late
This
spring, probably.
that's right.
Yeah, I remember Commissioner Pepper Sturgeon telling us at one point that we actually had a stockpile of some trees that we had bought cheap at one point, maybe over at the Municipal Service Center or something?
We
do you know anything
have a
about that?
holding place, a nursery
Yeah.
that we use. It's not really a stockpile. I mean, what we do is we do our fall order or spring order for tree planting, and we have them delivered to that location. We water them and take care of them while we're doing the installation.
So we don't have on-hand inventory for this purpose, I assume?
That's right.
Okay. Okay. Selectman
Can you
Waschinsky?
just remind us on what the project timetable is and
Sure.
how we're
So
doing?
we started January 2015. That was really the contractor, 2014.
So it's
That's
been a year.
right, Yes, as the contractor was really at that point just mobilizing, setting up their trailer, getting their staff together. Then they moved into some of the removals that were part of the contract. We estimate a 2-year construction, which would bring us to this time next year. So we would hope that we would be opening in the spring. Now, it's possible that we would have an early opening in the fall, but it really depends on where we are with the turf getting established and our punch list. We hope to have the contractor out there in the fall, but whether or not we're ready to really open, we'll have to assess at the time.
Very good. I move that we award and execute a contract in the amount of $129,534 with Shemin Nurseries for the purchase and delivery of trees and shrubs in connection with the Fisher Hill Reservoir Park construction project. All in favor, say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Waschinsky?
Aye.
The chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Aaron. Thanks for finding this resource, cheaper resource for getting the job done.
My pleasure.
Good
Thanks.
job. Miscellaneous item D is the question of accepting a grant from the Massachusetts Department of Public Health in the amount of $59,096.80, divided over 2 fiscal years, pertaining to the training of officers on how to better handle persons with mental illness. Chief.
Good evening. Yeah, it's a real nice grant to be able to bring in front of the board. One of our goals this fiscal year, was to improve our training in how we handle people with mental illness. And we scoped out a whole plan to go forward with it. We've been seeing an increase in the type of calls that we're getting. We've seen a lot more people out on the street, and we're running into it a lot more. And we just thought that it was brutally important that we bring our officers up to a higher level of training. And with that, 2 sergeants, Sergeant Jen Pastor, Sergeant Chris Malin, and Officer Jim Reardon, under the direction of Deputy Grotman, got together and designed a plan on how we can go about doing that. Together with a lot of groups in town, we have some pretty healthy meetings. We have people that number around 40 that represent a lot of different groups in town, and the medical center down there in Cambridge and in Taunton, in Somerville, and they come and join us as we've got this program going. So far what we've done as a department is, using our in-service training money, the officers that I mentioned put on training for 4 hours to everybody, on indoctrinating them into how we're going to go about handling people, how we're going to map out our training, and what they can expect. It's a very generic type of thing. However, after that, we hired a woman to come in and train everybody for 8 hours of training per officer. It's called Mental Illness First Aid, which is how to take and deal with people that are suffering from different phases of mental illness. And our entire department has gone through that. Now, our next phase, this fiscal year, of which part of this grant will go for, is we're going to ask for volunteers of members of our department, and we're also going to designate certain assignments that we have within the department, and people that want to fill those will then undergo 40 hours of more extensive training outside of the department, put on by a national group. And that funding, the first round of funding, will take care of some of those officers. Currently, we have 10 that are trained to that level. We're going to do some of them between now and the end of June. Then the bulk of that money, $44,000 and change, will be to take care of the rest, with our goal being a minimum of 25% of our officers trained to this advanced level. What we will do with that is, we hope that they'll be scattered across the shifts, and when a call comes in about somebody that's suffering, they will be responding to the call, and they will be the ones that will be the first person in on the call, or the first person that's going to have the ultimate responsibility of dealing with that. And personally speaking, we've seen an increase. We've seen what happens, and one of the meetings that I went to, and for years, we've been doing it as somebody that we get down to the hospital, we think that it's a real good accomplishment to get them to go voluntarily down to the hospital. And one thing we never really thought of, and I know I never thought of it, is that we don't send an officer down and engage the doctor. One of the first things that I learned from talking to this group is that one of the major things that a department should do is, an officer that sees the person under stress and sees the person suffering on the street before they calm down and everything else, the doctor should know what they look for. And that was one of the first changes we made. And I think once I saw that and saying, they sold me on it, and I think at the end result, we're going to have a much better response to how we handle people in conflict.
Great, thank you. Selectman Daley?
Yeah, I think this is so important, and I'm delighted you've gotten this grant. And one of the things I wanted to ask you about, because I've heard from our Director of Veterans Affairs, some of the challenges that the returning vets are having with PTSD and traumatic brain injury and that sort of thing. And these are often individuals who have been trained in fighting techniques or use of guns, et cetera. Does this kind of cover what you might encounter in dealing with that type of individual?
This will cover that, yes. But also, Bill and I have had several conversations on this. He is attending our meetings. He will be an active role in this, because we have had some vets, and he knows who they are, and that's going to be critical, is that we then know who they are, where they live, and what they're dealing with.
Right.
So he's going to be a part of this, and he already is up to this point.
Great, yeah. I know he's told me some stories where, sometimes somebody is feeling like they might do something violent, and he has them call him in the middle of the night or whenever it is, and he'll go out and say, let's take a walk or something, and try to diffuse the situation that way. So I know he's been doing his own homespun version of this for a while, which I think is great.
Okay. Good. I move that we accept a grant from the Massachusetts Department of Mental Health in the total amount of $59,096.80. That's $14,214.40 in fiscal year 15 and $44,882.40 in fiscal year 2016. That money to be used for the training of officers on how to better handle persons with mental illness. Selectman Daley, all in favor, say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Waschinsky?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Sorry, following Selectman Waschinsky very naturally flows Selectman Franco. So. Next, we have the question of
You're going to
accepting...
call upon Selectman DeWitt a few times, too, just to be fair.
To be fair, is
Yeah,
right.
if you're missing Selectman.
Miscellaneous item E is the question of accepting a donation in the amount of $500 from the Korean Church of Boston for police community activities. Chief.
Yes, this is, Reverend Lee has been very kind over the past more than half dozen years that he's given a grant to the police department, a donation to the police department. We always use it and put it in our community policing fund, and we'll use it to support different things like the CERT team when we have their graduation and things like that. And I've asked the board to accept the $500 on our behalf.
Right, and I should point out that they do the same for the fire department
Yes.
annually as well. They're very generous, and we're also good neighbors right across the way from us here, too.
Yeah, I'm always delighted to see that, and I think it's a great example for our nonprofits who get many benefits from being here in Brookline to step up. And
Very
I
nice.
hope you're, I want to ask you, Mr. Kleckner, maybe to write a letter on behalf of this board acknowledging our gratitude to
Yes, I
them.
always do, and I will. I'll do it
Okay.
again, yes.
I move that we accept a donation in the amount of $500 from the Korean Church of Boston for police community activities. All in favor, say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Waschinsky?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Thank you.
And thank you, Chief. I don't think we need any discussion or anyone presenting this one. Item F is the question of accepting a donation in the amount of $200 from the Thompson family to be used in setting up a fire station visit for children and their friends. So they reported that they had a very positive experience in having a friendly visit to the fire department. Then they'd like to make this donation, and I thank them for their generosity. All in favor of accepting a donation in the amount of $200 from the Thompson family to be used in setting up a fire station visit for children and their friends, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Waschinsky?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Last on our miscellaneous calendar are two temporary alcoholic beverage licenses. The first, I'm going to do these together. The first is that I move that we grant a temporary all kinds alcoholic beverage license to Pine Manor College in connection with a 60th birthday party to be held on February 28, 2015, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. at 400 Heath Street. Second, that we approve a temporary permit to sign wine and malt beverages on town property at the Lars Anderson Auto Museum in connection with the following events to be held at 15 Newton Street. March 6, 2015, from 6:30 PM to 10:30 PM, Dancing with the Cars event, and March 8th, from 11:30 AM to 2:30 PM, the annual Wedding Expo. All in favor of those three temporary alcoholic beverage licenses, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Waschinsky?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. On to our very brief calendar. First item on the calendar is the annual town election, and my understanding is that we need to place on the ballot some particular town meeting member terms. Mr. Clark,
Correct.
can you explain?
Sure. There are vacancies in the town meeting ranks, and the town clerk indicates that they must be filled by the annual town election ballot. So they are one-year term vacancies in precincts 4, 14, and 15, and the clerk recommends that you vote to have those vacancies placed on the ballot for the annual town election.
Okay, any discussion or question? I move that pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 10, and Mass General Laws, Chapter 43A, Section 5, that the following vacancies have occurred, and the town clerk is hereby directed to place on the ballot for the May 15, 2015 annual town election the following offices: one town meeting member each, and for one-year terms in precincts 4, 14, and 15. All in favor say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Waschinsky?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Finally, we have two board and commission appointments to make, and I turn the chair over to Mr. Kleckner for that motion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have two committees this evening. The first is the Hubway Advisory Committee, which has a slate of candidates here, but I'll read them and seek your vote on each one. Chris Dempsey.
Aye.
Chris DePel.
Aye.
Andrew Fisher.
Aye.
Anil Gordon.
Aye.
Justin Lukoff.
Aye.
And then the Human Resources Board, there is an existing vacancy. There are two candidates. They are Bobby Kaplan,
Aye.
Dana Tague.
Aye.
Ms. Tague is the candidate.
And that concludes probably the earliest selectmen meeting finish that we've had in quite a few years. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back in our position right here next